conversation right now, and we're going to talk about old age and pensions. And I'm now joined by Simon Wafubwa, who is the Managing Director at Wealth. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Abby, for having me this afternoon.
Well, of course, quite a very direct question there for our viewers in relation to what percentages of Kenyans do actually support their retired parents from statistics that you have?
Quite very low, to be very frank. If we ask this question about 20 years ago, we possibly could look at 50%. But right now, the social fabric is highly disintegrated, that you no longer can rely on family as your social pillar to support you. And as such, I think is a very core question that we need to start looking at our future with a bit of seriousness. Yes.
And one of the findings from your report shows that 30% of Kenyans have comprehensive medical cover.
Yeah.
What does this mean about the untapped population? Do you have the numbers?
True, we have the future in terms of old age. If you look at our population, by 2030, we possibly are at around 12-14% of the population above age 60. And so there is a growing population for old age. But the key concern remains, in our survey findings, healthcare is a key concern. And it's such a serious issue to the extent that in some instances, the monthly pension that retirees get, all of it go on medical. And we are very happy that looking at the recent government policy decisions through the Retirement Benefits Authority, there is a proposition that pension schemes can allow for pre-funding, where members can pre-fund their retirement while also they are pre-funding for medical. When they get into retirement, you're not only having a pension, but you're also having a medical cover. And we as NWELD, we are proud to have pioneered that space in partnership with APA through a product called Anaya, that retirees can enjoy a medical cover up to age 90.
All right.
Yes.
And Simon, talk to us about why are we seeing this interesting shift around if we are seeing many people are accessing pension.
Yes.
But they are using this pension for maybe two things, to build their retirement home or to take their kids through school.
Very interesting findings. And the phenomenon of school fees in retirement, when we tried to inquire further from the research we did in partnership with Strathmore University, it was very interesting to know that because of poor parenting, we are now having a situation where retirees pay school fees for their grandchildren.
Sad state.
Yes, because then we have a generation that hasn't appreciated the levels of responsibility. So strategically, you find a young man or a young girl who say, okay, I'm bringing you your grandchildren. But the concern is not just to bring the grandchildren, it's actually to take care of other financial obligations that come with that. And so there is a need in terms of course, good parenting in a way helps to lessen that burden on social security. On the matter of housing and retirement go hand in hand. In fact, most people, when they retire, they use much of their lump sum to do a house. But the concern we have had is that even for those who do a house, I think there is a shift of trend that we are seeing. They prefer to have a house that also could earn them an income, even when they are gone.
So by this you mean someone puts up a high-end apartment or what?
Yes, that if I'm not using it, I can still get some inflow of cash to cushion my financial obligations.
All right.
But a bit of concerns we also notice that a few instances we notice some people do a house in the village of, say, like 10 million. It just becomes a tourism.
But it's your retirement home.
Yes, but you see,
you need something good.
Two days in a year, maximum, is when you actually enjoy the house.
That's true.
Because the rest of the time you are here in Nairobi with your children.
Yeah.
And that
I'm seeing that a lot in Western Kenya.
Yes, and then it just becomes a tourism attraction center. But the sad part of it is they don't pay some fee to you for that. And so it gets into what we call a debt capital. An asset that is actually not generating a return for yourself. But also the other dimension around it is that for those who do a house at age 60 or above, some very interesting mistakes. That someone is doing a house of 12 bedroom and there are only 2 in their house. They can't use all of it. So a bit of appropriateness in terms of planning and training that can be able to help a shift around that. Yes.
So what is the solution now that you are seeing a younger generation that is very financial literate and they're trying to save at the same time? There are other pressures of life. Inflation is out there, as well as peer pressure. How do you balance in terms of saving for old age?
My opinion is that saving is a concern of attitude. It will never be enough actually for us to be able to save. And if we eat our future now, our future will eat us when we get there. So through the proposed national pension policy in the country, my proposal, our proposal as NWELT is that saving should be mandatory, because then that's the only way perhaps we can enhance a pool of national savings for infrastructure development for the government, but also will have income adequacy for retirees when they actually get into retirement.
All right.
Yes.
And another big question, of course, Simon, is as much as we want people to be saving, the organizations in the country, how do we build strong institutions? Because one would say, I would want to save with, say, NSSF.
Yes.
But after hearing stories of your uncle never having been paid their pension, or so-and-so was working for Company X, they're still waiting for their pension. And this sort of creates a bad perception out there. What needs to happen in order to clean up our organizations so that they are credible and they are efficient?
The legislative framework that we operate in by the Retirement Benefits Authority is quite robust, that a member can be assured of their benefits in a very efficient, timely manner. I know in the private sector, really, we process pension benefits within a week, 2 weeks. Members should, as long as their paperwork is okay, they should be able to have. It should not be a struggle to get their money. A lot more in terms of education to the members, also to the government, to the employers, that can be able to help to support employees in terms of change process when they are eventually retiring, so that that process is quite seamless.
All right.
Yes.
And just a direct question, which is a bit personal. How much do you save for your retirement?
I do 20%.
Of your salary?
I do 20%. I listened to a quote by Barack Obama while he was in South Africa recently. He said, what you slay at age 30 will slay you at age 50. And so I bet a bit of slay, a bit of my savings increase, because the time opportunity I have now is that I can enhance growth of my savings through compounding interest, such that I can take a slowdown at age 50.
All right.
Yes.
Great place to end it. Many thanks, Simon Wafubwa, Managing Director, NWELT, talking to us in relation to pensions and old age. Indeed, you need to save for a rainy day because it will one day come. Well, you want to proceed on a